Hi everyone, and welcome to SOCI 1010 section W02, Introduction to Sociology. I'm your instructor, Gary Heidinger. I want to encourage you, just as quickly as you possibly can, to read thoroughly the course syllabus. That's a key for you doing well in the class. Think of it as a sort of contract between yourself and me. The syllabus contains just a great deal of very valuable information. And I've discovered, and I might add, that I can base this on my own experience, although I'm old enough to remember the time when course syllabi were not at all as common as they are today. But the few times I got a course syllabus, I ended up looking at it and saying, gee whiz, what's the value of this? And I pitched it. Big mistake. Please read this syllabus from beginning to end. It contains a lot of very, very valuable information. This being your initial introduction to the class, I'm sure that probably what interests you the most is exactly how much do I have to do to get out of this class with a high grade. So initially, let's skip through some of the early pages of the syllabus and kind of get to the nitty-gritty when it comes to grading and expectations. So if you would, go over to the 7th page of the syllabus. And included there is quite a bit of information with respect to testing, project assignments, and the like. It's important that you recognize, and this is noted if you will focus on page 7, that there are going to be 3 major class exams. Actually, I've highlighted a bit more information about those exams on page 6 down at the bottom. And if you'll notice again, the first 2 exams are going to be similar in nature in that they will include 2 discussion questions followed by about 25 to 26 multiple choice questions. Now, if you're going over to the 7th page of the study guide up near the top, you'll notice again some information about the 3rd exam. It's not going to be comprehensive. In other words, it will not be a test that will focus on everything you've covered during the course of the semester. Rather, it will focus on information that we've covered following the 2nd examination. And also notice it's going to consist of 40 multiple choice questions, no discussion questions. Now, on all 3 exams, bear in mind you're going to have at least 2, if not more, extra credit multiple choice questions. And if you will notice again on page 7, there's information about exactly what lessons will be included in each one of the course exams. And I'll also emphasize the fact that you are to complete your exams at one of 3 testing center locations: Oak Ridge Branch Campus, Roane County Campus, and or the Cumberland County Campus. Now, I realize this is an online class, and some of you might expect all your evaluations will take place online. But I'm one of a number of instructors that require students to come into the testing center to complete their exams. So I realize this is going to be an inconvenience for you to come in, but I've set up the testing in such a way that hopefully it's not going to be that big of an inconvenience for you. Now, bear in mind you'll have an hour, roughly an hour and 25 minutes to complete the 3 course exams. Now, if you go a little bit further, going past page 6, going on over to the top of page 8, pay particular attention to what's noted there with respect to when you are to complete each exam. Notice I've got a date for the first exam when you begin and the very last date by which you must complete that first exam. The same is true for the 2nd exam and also for the 3rd exam. Now, there's some information here that I want you to study just in case, and I can't imagine, unless it's just an extraordinary circumstance, that you would miss an exam. But in case you do, be sure to read this section about missed exams. And notice again, you're going to have over 4 weeks from beginning date to ending date to complete each one of these exams. Please, I'm imploring you, don't pull a Gary Heidinger, that's me, and put this off until the last minute. Invariably, something unexpected crops up and you're caught between the proverbial rock and a hard place. Now, down at the bottom of page 8, there is some information as to how you can locate specific dates and times in terms of, as well as hours of operation of the testing center. You can get all of this online. So this is very, very important. Now, if you go over a little bit further, you'll notice on page 9, there is an action learning project that you are to complete. This is required of everyone, and it basically boils down to you employing a motion picture, a movie, by which to highlight key sociological concepts and ideas. I've given you, again, on page 9, and there's more information related to this that carries on over to the next page as well, sort of project guidelines. Specifically, again, what I'm hoping that you'll be able to do is to apply one or all 3 of the major sociological perspectives, functionalist, conflict, and symbolic interactionist model, to the film that you choose. Although you may decide that 1 or just 2 of these models fits the particular film that you've selected. On the other hand, you may decide that, well, I thought what this film accomplished is highlighting a number of key sociological concepts that we've gone over in class. If you decide to do that, fine and good. And my hope is that the project guidelines are specific enough to give you insights into what I'm looking for. Should they not be, don't hesitate to let me know. Again, you're going to be writing this up as a formal paper. Part of your grade is going to be determined by how well you write. So if you've got a writing problem, get it solved while you're at Rome State. Now, I have listed a number of films on page 10, and the list continues on over to the top of page 11. After you've examined the list, if you have in mind another film that you think applies readily to the activity, run it by me. 99.9% of the time, I'm going to say, okay, go for it. But you're going to write this up. I want you to, as I'm quoting directly from the syllabus here, I want your sociological take on the film that you select. Now, notice again, it's going to be due on April the 22nd, which is Friday. And notice as well, I'm not going to take these after April the 29th. And if you do turn them in late, I'm going to dock you some points. Please be aware of that. You're going to lose 2 points for each day beyond the due date. And also notice this, you can complete a second project for up to 8 points of graded extra credit. So if you decide you want to do another project, pick up a few extra points, keep that in mind if you will. And again, I've given you information here on page 11 with respect to how you can get those to me, either through my RadarNet, I'll get it out correctly, address, which is located here, or you can send it through Momentum, use the Dropbox feature. Either way will work fine with me. Now, down at the bottom of page 11, and this continues on over to the top of page 12, there's information about the general grading scale that I'm going to be employing. I will alert you to how well you did on each exam several days after the last day of the testing period itself. So in essence, that boils down to what you are going to have to do in order to successfully pass the class. But going back to, again, the first page of the syllabus, keep in mind that we will be using a specific textbook, and it's mentioned in several different places in the syllabus. In particular, you can locate the title, as I mentioned before, in several different places in the syllabus. And it's really going to be key for you to do well in the class. It's by Henslin, and it's entitled The Essentials of Sociology. I'm over on the 6th page of the syllabus. Be sure to check on a wide variety of resources where you might be able to get a copy of the book itself. If you're in the habit of renting offline, there are a lot of good online sources. This is also available in the Rome State bookstore. I have several copies on file at the Oak Ridge Branch Campus Library on the reserve shelf. If you'd like to use one of those rather than purchasing a book, I have absolutely no problems with that. Bear in mind, you cannot check the book out of the library. You'll have to use it while you're in the library. And I certainly agree with you, textbook costs are extraordinarily expensive. If you find an older edition, feel free to use it. But remember, everything I have in the 3 course study guides and the 3 course review guides are oriented toward this particular edition of the book, the 11th. Don't overlook that point. It's key. Okay? So as you read through the syllabus, you will note that basically this course consists of 3 or 4 different things. The text, 3 study guides, 3 review guides, and then you'll have 3 exams along with a project. Now, in particular, if you're wondering, what is it going to take for me to do well in this class? There's some good information with which you can begin on the 5th page. Focus a lot of attention here on research indicating, again, those students who are most successful in online courses. It's important that you set goals related to what you expect to gain from this course. And I do that right now. Secondly, develop some kind of a plan that will help to ensure that the goals you've set can be realized. And then third, and this is very important, apply yourself to the task at hand. Read the textbook assignments carefully. Read everything and relate the information to the appropriate study guide and video lesson that you happen to be watching. Get in the habit of actively reading. Now, I know all of you know how to read, but you want to actively read. Don't just run your eyes over the page and then reach back and pat yourself on the back and say, gosh, I did what I was supposed to do. Because you're most likely going to end up like me, wondering, what did I just read? Don't allow it to go in one eye and out of the other. Furthermore, 4th point, take opportunities to determine if you've learned the specific information. Ask yourselves questions frequently about what you have read. And I would suggest that reading start with the summary of each chapter first. That will give you some idea of what to expect. Now, likewise, for you to do well in this course, you're going to have to develop some critical thinking skills. Sociology absolutely demands that. And again, if you're sitting there wondering, well, what exactly does that mean? Well, number 1, develop a willingness to ask questions and to question all assumptions and all ideas. Be cautious about conclusions that emerge from just a single experience. Rather, be willing to study an arrangement or a system in its entirety and over a period of time. I would also encourage you to seek support. In other words, verification for any arguments or assumptions that are made. Chambliss and Inklist put it this way: distinguish facts from opinions. Facts are verifiable, whereas opinions are subject to argument and to counter opinions. So you want to ask yourself, what exactly are the sources of the information that I've gathered? And likewise, be aware of biased assumptions, including our own. Work to be objective. Work to be open-minded. Doesn't mean you got to reject your beliefs and your ideas. But Schaefer and Fieldman put it this way: be ready to learn something. Don't just let emotional reactions blind you when considering the evidence and reaching conclusions. And last but not least, be willing to examine your own arguments and take that extra step. Be willing to criticize them and to admit when wrong or uncertain or unsure about the results. If you keep that in mind, and then if you follow through on what I've noted on page 5, you're going to do very well in this class. Sociology can benefit you both in direct and indirect ways. I can tell you this, and reflect back on the points I'm making right here. Once you exit your higher education experience, you may never again complete a complex algebraic equation. You may never again view anything through a microscope. You may never again debate the contents of a poem written by Emily Dickinson, or for that matter, analyze a series of events that led to some great historical change. But I can tell you something you'll do for the rest of your life, and that is interact with people. You and I are social. Bear that in mind, and likewise bear in mind that a lot of what we do exhibits patterns and regularities. But these patterns and regularities over time do change. Welcome to the challenge. Welcome to what I think and what I hope will be a true learning experience for you. I hope it turns out to be something exciting and worthwhile. Don't hesitate to let me know if I can be of any benefit to you. And again, welcome aboard.